Hi, and thanks so much for joining us on Live with Squacky. I'm Val Kelly, voice actor, owner, president, CEO, and executive producer of Mid-Atlantic Voiceover, LLC. I'm so excited about our guest today. We have Marc Graue with us, and he is the owner of the legendary Marc Graue Voiceover Studios in Burbank, California. It's a landmark for over 35 years with 15,000 square feet, housing 5 studios and an ADR stage that has seen just about every movie, TV, and music star come through its doors. As a voice actor, you can hear Marc as one of the iconic pirate voices on Disneyland's Pirates of the Caribbean ride, seen and heard by millions daily. Alaska State Troopers, promos for CBS, Cartoon Network, and Nickelodeon, parodies for Jimmy Kimmel Live and Real Time with Bill Maher, and hundreds of cartoons and video games. As a producer and voiceover coach, Marc has produced voiceover demos for some of the top voiceover talent in the world, including E.G. Daily, Yeardley Smith, Harry Hamlin, Stephen Root, Maurice LaMarche, Randy Thomas, John DiMaggio, Dennis Haysbert, Carlos Alazraqui, John Ratzenberger, and hundreds more. Marc's coaching methods come from over 40 years of voiceover experience as a producer, director, voice actor, casting director, and studio owner. I had the opportunity to meet Marc a few years ago when he was a guest speaker at the VoiceOver Atlanta conference. It's such an honor that you would take the time to be on my show, Marc. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure, and I thought you had more taste in that, but thank you for having me. No, okay. after that intro, it's like, well, I should just leave now. It's like, I had no idea I was such an exciting person.
No, it's such an honor to have you on the show.
I'm thrilled to be here, absolutely. Ask away, I'm yours.
Great. So I always like to start out by having my guests tell the story of how they got started in the voiceover industry. So will you share with us your story?
I did the thing of radio back when I got a degree in broadcasting, a degree in mass communications, and was thinking this is what I want to do. I had always done character voices, lots of different stuff, but in those days, we're talking about mid-70s kind of, and small markets, all of Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, Oregon, Washington, they weren't real thrilled about a cast of characters on a morning show for some reason. The door would fly open. I can't believe you just said that, apologize. And I was like, okay. And so that's kind of where that started. I'd always loved doing production. And so I would, mix spots as well. And basically, I grew up in Hollywood. My dad was a news guy and anchor guy at Channel 5 here way back in 1948 when it first started. So I actually grew up, Dawes Butler is my godfather, which a lot of people don't know. I grew up watching Dawes and Stan Freberg doing a live puppet show called Time for Beanie. And it was, hey, Beanie Boy, and they'd be, it was kind of a fun, and it was very, and as a kid, it was like, wow, this is really cool, just sitting there watching them, and so I think that's probably initially how I got involved with it. And then of course, we'd sit, there used to be A&W used to be a drive-up rest where they'd actually have the girl come out and, place the thing on your car. And
right.
So my brother and I would do voices of people as, watching them eat. And of course, my mother would be, that's not funny. Obviously he has a problem. Now stop it. We had no taste even then. Anyway, that's kind of how it got started. And then I, went through the radio thing, ended up in San Diego, had decent success in radio. I mean, it was okay, but it was to me, a very, very unstable situation where, they would, the door would just fly. We want you to meet with a consultant. And it's like, well, let me put my stuff in my car first, because you kind of knew where that was going. Excuse me. And, anyway, so when I came up here, I kind of BS'd my way into a huge music studio, did not know anything about music engineering, but they had a Studio 5 that they wanted to turn into a media studio, doing specifically radio spots, TV spots, surround spot, trailers, that kind of stuff. And I was very, very lucky in that they had zero, so I was on the phone talking to people and actually became very, very dear friends with Don Pitts. And Don was a legendary voiceover agent. Don's office was actually on the corner of Hollywood and Highland, where the Dolby Center is now. Bobby Bergen was there. I think Bobby was probably 16, when he started. We were just kids, and you'd watch Orson Welles go in and Gary Owens go in and Casey Kasem go in, and I mean, and it's like, it's like, well, I know I'm never booking anything, but this is so cool. And then, eventually, it booked something and it started, and I had a general audition at Hanna-Barbera forever ago. I mean, years. This is back when, oh goodness, yeah, Gordon Hunt was the voice director, and I'd done a ton of VO stuff, but I'd never auditioned for anything. And so it was kind of, so I wrote this big script and was changing voices, and I think they thought I was on crack. It's like, what's the matter with it? And one of them said, you get yourself an agent and I'll get you out here working immediately. And I had been working with Don doing demos for his clients, which is kind of how the whole celebrity thing started. And so I called Don and said, hey, Don, he said, yep, you got it. I'll take you on. So that's kind of how stuff started, which is interesting. Yeah.
Wow, that's such a great story. It really is. It's so interesting to hear how people get started and how they make these connections with people that can open doors for them. And it's always so exciting to hear how, you're a little bit in the right place at the right time and meeting the right people.
Well, there's definitely a modicum of luck, absolutely. But the thing is, too, believe in yourself. I mean, of all of the people, the biggest detractor for me was my dad. Again, he was a very staunch conservative newsman, so what the hell makes you think you're not going to come up to Hollywood? You have no contacts. It's like, what are you like? You've been smoking pot again, haven't you? It's like, and it just until I think it was Debbie Reynolds that was there. And then he was like, oh, hey,
maybe I should believe in you. Yeah, that's great. That's so great. And obviously the talent goes, a long way too. That's the biggest component of it, is being a talented actor, which is going to make you the connections and get you in the door as well, but it also help you to maintain your career in the industry. So
they're just fooling people and not having them find out the truth.
True, but probably not. So your studio is called Legendary Marc Graue Voiceover Studios, located in Burbank, California. Like I said, legendary indeed. So you've worked with some of the most famous actors in the industry over the years. Can you tell us what that experience has been like? Although I can only imagine it's been epic.
Honestly, the fun thing with it is it kind of the legendary thing started out as a fluke. Elliot Gould had come in a number of times. When I started out, before I was in the location in Burbank, I had a little studio in Hollywood and got bigger and bigger. Then I moved out to Burbank. Elliot Gould became a very good friend. We used to record. He was doing this whole Philip Marlowe series of audiobooks. And a lot of people don't know that's actually where I started, was thousands of audiobooks for a company called Dove Audio, way back when it was Deborah Raffin and Michael Wiener. Interesting individuals, anyway, especially Michael. But anyway, so through that, the pictures would go up and down. And I remember Elliot came in and he went, "God, this place is legendary," kind of, and it kind of stuck, and so that's kind of how that happened. The funny thing is it levels the plane. It's like having a bar, where so somebody comes in and when they see the pictures, what happens is then they feel comfortable. It's like, oh, okay, song, I've worked with that. Okay, great. And then it's like, it's okay. It's not like some weird, like, am I going to get ambushed or, some strange kind of a thing that will happen to them. And so it's kind of a comfort level. And and then it became a running gag. And then you have people going, can I get, I want my picture on the wall. It's like, well, of course, and then now it's happened because I'm not there as often, that I pulled back a little bit. Andy thought it would be very funny to do the cardboard cutout, which you've probably seen that. And that's the running gag, is now people, taking a picture with a cardboard cutout, which seems extraordinarily weird, self-serving, and a strange form of masturbation. Sorry. But anyway, so, it was kind of his idea, and that's now turned into kind of a fun bit. So, yeah, but it's been very interesting. Some of the people are very much like you think they would be, and some of the people are not exactly what you think they'd be. People that are very wonderful and gracious and realize how lucky we all are to be doing this and making a good living at it. And then there's other people who, well, different situation.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially people that are of such a high celebrity status that I'm sure you deal with a wide range of
Oh yeah, we even have
know,
a computer,
characters.
of exactly what they want. It's like, we know if like Julie Andrews is a sweetheart, but if Julie comes, we know she likes Fortner makes some breakfast tea. She likes this. She likes these crumpets from all of that. So it's like we haven't
Right.
really thoughtful, So yeah, it's just those little touches like that just make people feel comfortable. That's all.
Right. That's cool. So with over 40 years of experience, you've had the chance to see tons of different trends come and go in voiceover. I was talking to Marc Cashman in my last interview, and we discussed how the internet really made a huge impact. We went from tapes to CDs to MP3s. So what was it like to experience all of those different trends of production?
Here's what's interesting, that the internet, as far as formats, it's made everything much more manageable. Other than, big carrying around giant spools of 2-inch, 24-track tape or 1-inch 8-track or half-inch, all of that kind of stuff. Everything video or voiceover demos were always little 5-inch boxes, with 1/4-inch tape. It's the interesting thing with the internet is that it has opened up the playing field to everyone, which I think is a good thing. On the downside to that, there are pay-to-plays, as we all know, that don't vet anyone. So in other words, if you pay the price, and the guys,
Right.
It's like, well, I did this commercial for my brother's real estate company up here too, and we traded out a hamburger down there, and so I'm doing, it's like, okay, that's great. So it's the interesting thing is it's kind of you have to be very cautious because it used to be we were like voiceover gypsies. There was, I think, the only person in town that had a home studio was Danny Dark, who was the voice of NBC, and it was like, wow, a studio at home, gee, I mean that. And of course, Don came on, and Don LaFontaine, we used to go back. We did all those crappy Steven Seagal movies together back in the 80s.
Oh wow, that's so cool.
But the interesting thing is you'd run into the same people. There was a social interaction. You'd meet, and the nice thing about it was, you'd go on an audition, and it'd be a casting director. Oh yeah, we worked together on, whatever. And you say, oh yeah, and you've got your foot in the door. You don't have that anymore. Now it's like you're relegated to being an MP3, which is why we can get into that, but which is why demos and auditions are so important that it's not, it's not a matter of just taking a USB mic, cramming it in and going, yeah, okay, well, yeah. I mean, it's like, listen to your level. Even you could have the best read in the world, and if the levels are crappy, it's gone. They're not going to take the time to listen to it.
Right.
There's trust. We can get into that in a minute also with auditioning. But the interesting thing with the internet is that the good side is it's opened up a much larger playing field. The downside, it's like the Wild West. There's a lot of people that make ridiculous claims, and there's nothing to substantiate that. That's one of the things you'll see, like the celeb page, all of that stuff. It's like an ongoing thing. I'm sure people go, oh, I'm sick of it. Quit putting those up. But it legitimizes. In other words, it's not Photoshop. It's like, yes, we're actually doing that.
Right.
It's with the advent of copy paste, it's like, well, yes, I'm the voice of, let's see, Fox, Chevy, Ford. It's like, really? And people do that, and just, and it's like, really? And so, that, and the problem is it's an ego-driven business, which we all have. Obviously, you have to be in this. The downside to that is because it is ego-driven, you've got places like Fiverr where it's like, somebody, I got into a bit of an argument with somebody once, which I normally don't do on the internet, but she was claiming that she makes $12,000 a month on Fiverr. And it's like, if you sit down and do the math, it's like, so let me get this right. You're doing like, 143 spots a day or whatever. It was like, but I mean, there's a lot of claims. And it's the same thing that drives me a little nuts with even coaching. There's an awful lot of people that it's like, well, what? And people that are looking for look and see what the person does. It's not that hard to do, and just see it. Are they really in the business, or is you can tell pretty quickly if their website is voice123voices.com. But it's like, well, no, you should have your own website specifically for that kind of thing.
Right.
And so it's a little bit different thing, and it's not sour grape stuff. It's just, again, it's opened up but it's also brought on a lot of problems for Screen Actors Guild, who is kind of always treated voiceover as the bastard redheaded child, and now they're going, oh, we should do this, and it's like, well, guys, that boat kind of sailed a while ago, and there's a lot of people that are doing non-union stuff, and a lot of people, and that's not, I'm not necessarily a proponent of that, but I mean, if you choose to make a living doing this, you have to do what you have to do.
Right. Yeah, I think I think particularly for people that are not in a major market like New York or LA, I think it's difficult to not do, well, maybe it's not, but it seems to me more difficult to not do non-union work because it's more difficult to get the union work if you're not in an area where you can actually be competitive. You know what I mean?
No, I absolutely agree with that. That's, but at the same point, even non-union, set a standard. You
Right.
don't.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm gonna paint houses. And this guy offered me $20, so I'm gonna do it because and it's like, well, you tell him to go to hell. You would paint a house for $20. So it's like, so set a value on what you do. And it's, the interesting thing is with this, it's like if you go, okay, a minimum $200. Well, well, it's not, if the guy's paying $100, it's not like in 6 months, we were sitting here, Jesus came down and said, thou shalt pay him $200. It's like, no, it's not going to happen. It's like, you're going to just stay at that level. So put a value on what you do. I don't mean pricing yourself out of the market. It's a very individualized thing. You do what you deem necessary, but don't jump at a job that's paying you $50 because that's not going to be paying a lot of bills. And that's pretty much where that guy's not going to, all of a sudden, again, pay you $500 6 months down the road.
Right. I think something for me that in particular that has been a challenge in some of the work I've done for like talking toys and things like that is that it'll oftentimes be a buyout. And I don't know if that's the standard for talking toys, but it's like,
well,
again, like here's your what we're going to pay you. But then what I noticed later, which of course is part of the buyout contract, is that they can use they can use any part of what you've recorded for them whenever, and then you hear your voice in like 6 more toys like a year later, and you're like, wait, what? Like,
well,
it's going to happen, but it's like crazy.
But contractually, they shouldn't. In other words, a buyout is for that specific product.
Right.
In other words, it's not. Unless they're saying specifically, for this and whatever other toys come down the line, da 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 da. No, that's not right at all. They should absolutely pay you again.
Yeah.
But at the same point, yes, they can cut that down from doing a session to using a 60-second, if it says that contractually, and we can use this in all perpetuity, meaning they can use it forever, and we can use it across the board for internet, for TV, for radio, for new media, and you sign that, well, then you just kind of signed it away. The thing to be cautious of with that too, and I've told a couple of people that coaching wise, is like, well, you jump on the wagon, you go, wow, great, I got this car spot. Well, 10 years down the road, all of a sudden, wow, I'm up for the spokesperson of, Lexus. And it's like, they have a non-compete clause. Have you ever done? Yeah. And it's like, bye, and they can be very, very sticklerish with that, so that just be cautious. That's all.
That's true. That is definitely something for people to pay attention to, because I think, earlier in my career when I started booking talking toys, I wouldn't have known to necessarily pay as close attention to that as I would know now. And so then you end up not knowing what's included in the contract because you're not used to contracts, because you're new to
we get caught up in the fact, again, it's like a scratch or lottery ticket. You go, I won, they booked me.
I got it,
yeah, exactly. And you're so excited that you got it.
You don't think about it. Exactly.
No, here, I'll sign whatever you want,
Right.
And I get that. It is exciting to win a job, but just really look it over and see what that's about. Just because you can really sign stuff away that in the long run will be, why did I do that? A great example is I was years and years and years ago when I was first starting out, was approached by a very well-known actor who was a friend. You know what? Tell you, man, this is obviously better. Tell you what, I'll finance the entire thing. I'll buy you. I'll pay for a great big studio, all the equipment, da da. And we'll do 50% basically for as long as you have the place. And it was like, because it's like, well, I'm thinking, okay, 20 years down the road when I'm sitting in there, at, 3 o'clock in the morning going, yeah, it's like, I don't want to give you half, it's like, so I didn't do it, and at the time it was a little tough, it was like, okay, am I making the right decision? But yeah, because now I don't have a partner and that makes all the difference in the world.
Right. Yeah, that's really good advice, actually. So everybody pay attention to your contracts when you book a job, because I think, like I said, that earlier in my career, I didn't know to pay as close attention as I do now. And so that's like really something important to not get too excited about the job that you just are like, pay me. Let's talk about voiceover coaching. Can you tell us about your style of coaching and some of the techniques you use that you find to be most effective for voice actors?
No. I just thought I'd throw that out. As far as the style of it, I mean, my skew is very, very different because it's not only from my personal aspect as a voice actor in the booth and an agent and now having all of that stuff, but also from the aspect of when you have a studio, you are working, at that level with top, directors, producers, writers every single day. So you're privy to what's going on in the control room, even after the talent has left. You're still there with a client putting things together. So you kind of have a little better idea on what they're looking for, and the fact that we cast not huge, but we cast 3 or 4 things a week, I would say, as an average. Some weeks are more, but that's an average. And that's everything from the animation stuff to video game stuff to commercial stuff, a lot of dubbing as far as localization, as well, like they'll take a Russian TV show, turn it into, English and that kind of stuff. So you get when you're auditioning, I'm used to listening to audition tapes. So I put that in motion coaching wise as to what, here's the deal. What we have now is that, first off, the social media is so incredibly antisocial. It's amazing. I mean, again, you really don't have any connection with like this is wonderful because I'm actually seeing you, but 90% of you have clients you probably have never met ever. Right. It's all done, via, text, email, that kind of stuff. And then you send them for, files, whether it's WAV files, MP3s, whatever. So again, the fact that we're lacking that connection means that you need to put as much in, you need to look at an MP3, you need to look at an audition as, this is like your showcase audition. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Val. And you get up on stage and it's yours. Yeah. So what are you going to do that's going to bowl me over? The funny thing is about auditions, for some reason, you can have this wonderful personality and you're outgoing and it's great. And as soon as I throw a script in front of you, it's like you're filling out a financial form, Make my name twice. That's all. Don't mention the name of the agency. Then I should go into this. No, should I do it in character? No, they said no, and it's, and you lose the sense of who you are. Well, right. It's like, be you. Hey guys, how you doing? Hey, love the script. It was great. That third line you did, that was hilarious. Really, really good. I'm going to give you a couple of different options here. I'll quit blabbing. Let's get on with this. Now, what's the worst thing that can happen? Oh my God, they didn't hire me. Oh no. Well, welcome to voiceover. It's not like, because you did, an unusual slate. It's not like they send the voiceover police to your house and go, all right, sucker, freeze. Was it fucking name and slate, buddy? It's like, all right. Hey. I mean, it's, so be you. Once again, the only thing that you have to sell is you. There's one of you. That's it. So have your personality come through, and even have your personality come through in the slate a little bit. And I don't mean going off on some bizarre tangent. Right. It's the same thing as people talk about, well, no, you shouldn't mess with a script. Why the hell not? Even a commercial script. Start with the second line. Yeah. And then go back up to the top. And what that does is that now made your audition entirely different than everybody else. And nobody's going to, oh my God, did you hear it, Bob? Come here. She started in the middle. I mean, it's like, it's an audition. It's okay. It's like nobody, it's fine. This is an audition for you to showcase you. Show up. Show them what you've got. Here's another interesting thing with doing, and you always hear you should always do 2 takes, right? On a character, at least 2 or 3. Well, if you're going to do those, go, I'm going to give you, two, I'm going to give you three, whatever, I'm going to, of the first version, and we'll go into it. So, meaning that first graph, give me 2 or 3 voices on that, or maybe the first and second graph, and then give me this version, and then whatever version you want to go all the way through, then go through the entire script. The reason for that is that an MP3 is a player. It's not a format. It's well, I mean, it's a format, but it is a player. It's not a waveform, so you can't see it. Well, there is not a casting director anywhere on the face of the earth that's going to go through and try and find, let's see, where's the second take?
Right.
It's so bowl me over right out of the chute. Have fun with it. Do something a little, Tom Kenny, reason Tom Buck, SpongeBob, that laugh was like, wow, that's amazing. Do something fun.
Yeah.
Something that's a little, it's like, why couldn't he be, like, if you do a stupid guy, people immediately go to it. The guy that's doing the thing where I'm really stupid. But what if we made him like, Bob? I don't know. It's maybe higher registers. Anything you want. It's like if you do, a woman does a witch's voice. The first go-to thing is, I'll get you, my pretty,
Right.
But why couldn't she be a 400-pound witch with a lisp that's English?
Right.
And unless there's something, and this is the other thing that's interesting with direction, we've talked a little bit before coming on.
Yeah.
Direction, to me, it's like they have an idea of what they want, but it's not in concrete. This is like a group of guys going, yeah, I don't know, this would be kind of cool. They see the character. They are not going to know until they hear the voice. That's when they make the decision. So we were talking about direction, to me, is like, again, in Pirates of the Caribbean, where it's not exactly rules, it's more guidelines. And that's exactly what that is. Here's a guideline. This is, we're thinking this. Great. What if I throw in a Cockney accent? I mean, unless it's a voice match that's, specifically this, and that's what they want, well, then you don't have a lot of room to play. The other thing with that is I love it when they'll put in, 2 or 3 YouTube links. Well, it's kind of like this and like this and like this. Well, immediately you have Homer Simpson brain. It's like, because you're like, no, they said more gravitas. No, I'm supposed to be funnier than that. No, that was too funny. No, and you're second guessing every single thing you're doing. So just what I call it is, again, back to the coaching portion, is road mapping. The real essence of what you want to do is in the copy itself. And that will tell you, who am I reacting to? Who am I speaking to? If it's a video game, am I talking to the player? Am I talking to another character in the game? Cartoon, am I talking to mom? Am I evil? Am I happy evil if I'm not? Cartoon, again, cartoons are lighter, happy, fun, medium age, 4 to 10, maybe 4 to 11, but it's cute. It's always, most cartoons for kids always have the da-da-da-da-da, and the moral is, you should never judge a book by its cover.
Right.
And it's like, okay, great. And then, okay, that's wonderful. Video games, on the other hand, are a lot darker. Fuck the cover, man, kill them all. I mean, it's like, it's a whole different thing. That's a very different, the big titles are inherently darker. But coaching goes to specifically to, that's one of the reasons I like doing individual coaching. I do classes at the studio, but I pulled way back because it's very hard if you have 12 or 14 people in a big control room to make it specific to you.
Right.
And that's what this is about. It's like, your voice. I mean, obviously you don't have a voice that's going to sell a Lexus or a Mercedes Benz. Could you pull off a Toyota Prius? Hell yes.
Yeah.
And that's really, that's the key to that, is zoning in on, what's in your wheel. Great. Now let's expand from there.
Right. Exactly. That's definitely really important to figure out. It's like ruling out, okay, you can't play a 30 to 40-year-old woman. Just realized that the other day. So I was like, okay, what's your age range? Well, we thought we knew, but let's narrow it down.
But at the same time with that, though, there's stuff I love it when they go age 40. Well, what the hell is a 40-year-old? What is the difference between a 40 and a 50-year-old? Not a lot. Now,
right.
A 20-year-old and a 60-year-old, there's going to be some difference, But that's an interesting case even in itself, in that people would assume 65, 66, you're starting to do this with, as kids are playing that goddamn music again too loud. Well, screw that. I'll be 66 in December, and I don't feel like I'm quite ready for the home yet. You know, I may look it, but I don't feel like you know what I mean. I don't feel like I'm that age. And there's a lot of people that don't. You know, look at Junie Ray. I mean, Junie was working into her 90s. You know.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, I think you have to really, you know, look at the age that they're asking for and give them something that's like relevant, but also don't pay so much attention to it that it lets you not be able to get the character.
Well, it's like a great example when they say a 30-year-old mom. Well, what the hell exactly does a 30-year-old mom? She could sound like you. She could sound, you know, the evening gown, very sophisticated. She could be in the backyard with a tank top, drinking a beer with her girlfriend. I mean, there's a whole litany of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, there's not be specific. And that, again, goes back to interpreting that copy. When I say road mapping, it's like learning to drive a car. The first time you do, you're like, oh, God, okay. And you're looking at the copy and you're marking things up and doing all of this kind of stuff. Now, you know, with a car, you know, oh, God, there's the mirror. Okay, the seatbelt. When you drive now, no, you just go, okay, great, seatbelt, we're good, let's go. You know, you're not consciously, you know, thinking about all of that. And that's what makes the difference in your read is to be comfortable, because what happens is, first off, you're taking, it doesn't matter what it is, it's someone else's written word. So it's not phrases or words that you would normally use in conversation. It's not, the pacing may be entirely different. The other thing also, I always tell everybody, the first thing to do is throw out the punctuation. Don't even bother with it. If you see an exclamation mark, what's the first thing everybody does? They yell. I've never, ever seen a casting director go, "Yeah, come here and listen to how she's yelling." You know, same thing with ellipses. In fact, I wanted to have a T-shirt made up that said "The ellipses are a lie." Like, I love when ellipses out, ellipses in. It's like, well, how big of a pause would you like? It's a 60-second spot. We could sit here for another 22 seconds. I mean, it's like, you know, make it natural to you.
Right.
Realize that people that are writing copy, just because you're auditioning for this, it doesn't mean they know what they're not sitting at the right hand of God going, I am the only one that knows the English language, not you. So you will do what I deem necessary. It's like, no, make it your own.
Right.
You know, you'll see and especially on pay-to-plays where you have a lot of foreign things. I mean, you're going to see stuff that makes no sense. And half the time, you're talking with people that they've never written a piece of copy. We get stuff they've never read it out loud. The biggest offenders for that are dubbing. You know, when you're doing localization, it's like, you know, I realize, in other words, what they'll do is they'll translate the script literally. Well, Russian and American are very different, you know, Russian or American and Spanish, you know, English and Spanish, very, very different language. And Spanish is inherently longer. So if you do it, you're going to have to add stuff and realize those sessions get changed up on the fly. They have to, in order to make the sync work on the lips.
Definitely. We're going to talk about that in more depth in a minute, but that's interesting, because I have gotten some scripts, because I speak French fluently. So I've gotten some really well-written scripts in French and done a good job with them. And then I've gotten so many that are badly written, you know, and it's like you said, the literal translation, or they Google translated and it was really it's gotten better, but it's still a bad interpretation of what it's supposed to say.
Well, I used to do liners for it was called Virgin One Radio in Lebanon, which is it's like really an English radio station, and and so it's like, you know, that's why now you are afford to be going it live at the Fornacha. Oh shit, I know. Don't worry, my friend. I said UMP3. It's pronounced Fornacha. You know, it's like right. You know, I'm sure the State Department was going, why is he getting another check from Lebanon? What the hell is going on? So, but it is weird. And sometimes you gracefully have to go, you know, this is probably going to make more sense, guys, if we do this, you know, or at least. And usually they realize, oh, yes, of course. Some go, no, you know, it's like, okay, you're the guys, you know, you're paying me, so whatever you want.
Right. Cool. So can you tell us about ADR? What it is, why it exists, how it's used, some of the techniques that go along with that type of work.
Well, it's called Almost Done Right. No, it's automated or automatic dialogue replacement. basically it's twofold. Either localization, and localization is where they'll take a video game, a TV series, even what anime is basically localization. And what you're doing it in English, or vice versa. We bring in, we might bring in Mandarin, Cantonese, if they want a Chinese version as well, Vietnamese, depends on what it is. What you're basically doing is syncing voice as close as possible, which is, again, why you have to a lot of time change up the dialogue a little bit to make it fit. There are companies too. One of the things I've done, if anybody has ever taken my class at the studio, there's a thing for, it's a fat loss thing, not a slim something. And what they did, same girl, same guy, but if you're fat, it's not your fault. People have it. Well, what they do is, rather than going in and reshooting the commercial, because it would cost them too much money, it's cheesy infomercials, they'll have somebody come in and do that's like localized to South Carolina or Arkansas. So they've got a look, but it's natural. And they'll come in and they'll sing, and then all of it, then now it fits perfectly for that market. Same thing with Midwest, same thing with East Coast, same thing with the, and so it's the same girl, but a little bit different dialogue. And that, in that case, you want very, very tight, nice lip sync. It needs to be pretty good. You've seen ADR, like the public domain movies that I do, the silly, funny voiceover comedy movies. I don't know if you've seen those. Anyway, they're all over the place, and those are all ADR basically.
Cool. So this might be a silly question, but is ADR the same thing as dubbing, or is that totally different?
Well, dubbing normally refers to foreign language.
Okay.
That's normally you're dubbing English to or they're doing a Spanish version. Like if they're doing that, I got a bunch of friends that do all the Spanish for a ton of sitcoms, first run stuff on CBS, ABC, NBC stuff.
Right.
ADR is normally what happens is either, first off, the star comes in to redo lines because the dialogue was bad, meaning it was recorded poorly, or, Robert De Niro, they're doing a streets, hey, De Niro, kind of thing. And the guy, and it's like, okay, a great example. We did Jungle Book too. And so this was filmed at the Arboretum. And the Arboretum is this beautiful county thing that's been there for years with peacocks and waterfalls and all of this stuff. And it's in Arcadia, California, here in LA, in the San Gabriel Valley. Absolutely beautiful. Right across the street is the Santa Anita racetrack, literally right across the street. So here's Mowgli running down to the water. And it's like, gee, Mowgli goes to the races, So in that case, we had to go in, not only redo dialogue, which is the ADR portion, but actually rebuild the scene with footsteps, effects, water, jungle, all of that, breath, and just recreate the entire scene. We go all the way back to having to redo stuff for Xena, believe it or not.
Wow.
Because they'd be in the middle of dialogue, she can't do it in a jet, wait. I don't think there was a lot of jets then. So, so it can be bad dialogue, or what you'll see on a lot of scripts is OS, which is off screen. And what they'll do is they'll realize that the scene's not working. So rather than the guy just goes into the kitchen, you'll have her, honey, can you come here for a second? And he's, and gets up and gets, so that makes more sense.
Okay.
So they'll do stuff, that kind of thing as well. And it's amazing the things you can do in sound design and ADR that fool you. What's interesting is a lot of the time when you watch, it's funny, when I've done an ADR class in the studio, people afterwards go, this is ridiculous, because everything I see, it's all done post with ADR. People, when you're outside, you don't sound like we sound right now. There's all this extraneous noise. But what they do is they go in and redo it in the studio and make it nice and clean and pristine and proper. If you're on a sound stage, you can control that. If you're on location, you can't.
Got it. Oh, that's really cool. I don't think I totally understood exactly how it worked, because I've never had the opportunity.
Yeah, it's a 3 beep. So it's beep, 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 and you talk where that fourth beep is imaginary beep.
Got it. Oh, okay.
In fact, I had a star and it was very, very funny. We were laughing. He was absolutely awful at ADR. You'd think he'd done enough movies that he would be great. And so he ended up going, guys, your beeps aren't the same as everybody else's. It was like, everybody's kind of going, what? You know, it's like, not like we're putting beep, 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 beep. I mean, it's like, what do you mean? It's like that, you know, and there is definitely an art to it. And the interesting thing is if you're replacing somebody else's voice, it's even weirder because once again, pacing's not natural to you, where they put in a pause, where they, you know, that kind of thing. So it's, you have to match what's going on. And it's, it can be a little odd and, you know, because you're kind of got one eye on the screen. What we do is put dialogue up on the screen. So it actually is right there. So while you're looking at it, you can see the dialogue, and that makes it a lot easier than trying to look at the script and do the one eye squint, you know.
Because you have to sync your lips with what they're saying. So if you're replacing someone else's dialogue, which it's oftentimes someone else replacing.
Sure.
Is it oftentimes a voice actor replacing someone in a movie that's not the actual actor?
Well, sure, there is voice matching like that. Voice actors, yes, believe it or not, a lot of stand-up comedians that do like a dead-on, you know, Al Pacino.
Right. Okay.
Those contract calls for an extra $5 million to come in and do 3 lines, so they bring you in and have you, you know, pay you a good day rate, you know. And then there's other ADR. We did all the ADR over at Warner Brothers. On Warcraft, because I've done all the Warcraft games, so they brought us in to do all these orcs, you know. And same thing, even though it's an orc, you still need to, you know, get all in sync. But that was a throat ripper. We had 4 days of that. No one could talk. It was like,
I can only imagine after that. That's crazy. So okay, so we've already kind of talked a little bit about dubbing. Then did the techniques for dubbing, essentially, like you said, in foreign language, they differ greatly from regular voiceover work?
Well, the only thing that you, with dubbing, is that, again, is where you find yourself, you have to, you know, and again, it's a very collaborative effort with the director or producer, because it's like, you know what, do you want me to add an and right here because there's that weird pause? Or, you know, because again, it's not the same language. And so that's can be a little bit, so that, you know, it's like the old days of the bad anime where the mouth, the guy's, no, you can't go over there, don't do it. And the guy's going, you know, with his mouth, it's like, really?
Right.
You know, or the bad chorus, so you think you're a tough guy, huh? You know, it's like, you know, nothing sinking, you know. So yeah, it's and now, and you know, still they'll do some down. Usually what they'll do is that, and when they come in to do ADR, they'll also do a clean version of something. So instead of saying honk, they'll say fudge, whatever, so that if they have a TV run, we can cut that right in, and it's all nice and clean, and so we're not stepping on anything, you know. But that's not a lot now, especially with the advent of, you know, Netflix and Hulu and all of the other outlets now. They're not overly concerned language-wise, but they may be if it's a first run on CBS, ABC, NBC thing. You know?
Right. That's interesting. So everyone has or needs to have a home studio today if they're going to be competitive as voice actors. What would you say are some of the most essential items for a voice actor to have in their home studio, like equipment-wise and anything else?
Well, here, okay, if you're going to, it depends on what you're doing.
Right.
If you are, first off, you need a nice, clean thing. And I'll tell you now, keeping noise out is an entirely different animal than deadening a room. Those are two completely separate planes of existence. You know, keeping sound out, you're going to either be down in a basement, you know, a cellar kind of thing, which back east they have, out here they don't, you know, or you're talking about having to do ridiculous insulation, sound walls, barriers, to keep stuff out. It's amazing with the studio you have. I mean, what I went through, and the rooms are so quiet, they're literally, you can hear your blood pumping. But it was a huge challenge because we're 2 miles from the airport.
Oh,
and
wow.
You don't hear a single jet, not even a whisper, you know, but that was a huge deal to do. Now, at home, I have a whisper room, which is great. It will keep out, you know, 90%. Originally, when I first had my home studio, I thought, well, this is going to be cool. I'm putting it in the pool house.
Oh, nice.
Well, So studio in the pool house, and the first thing tonight on NBC, "Ondale, córtale, cerrado!" And here go the board. Welcome to Los Angeles. So that was kind of interesting. So the best is, interface, A to D converters, analog to digital converters are all pretty similar. The thing is, make sure, I'm astounded. I've got people that I work with, and it's almost like a kid. It's like every time you go, okay, and it's like, why are you doing? Get yourself a China marker, right? Which is a grease pencil. And mark right on your interface. This is where, like, when I'm just doing my normal, I see you writing that down, but this guy, no. But it's true. When you, do your normal voice, make a mark. Do it in with a yellow China marker if you want, when you get really hot, so it's back down. So if you're getting loud, that way you have a visual representation of, okay, yeah, got it. That's here. I know right where I am. There's a whole bunch of little tricks like that. Right. In that way, you kind of know where you're going. The thing is, there is a thing in audio called Redbook. Redbook levels are basically, that's what a CD is. I know that I'm dating myself now, but you'll notice when you listen to a CD, they're all exactly the same level. Whether it's AC/DC, whether it's, some orchestrated, classical music, whether it's 94.7 The Wave, it's all at that same level. And that's a Redbook level. It's all stays in that same thing. You want to make sure that your levels are really, really clean. And that doesn't mean doing like crap and normalizing. Watch out. There's also white noise, which is the noise floor. Inherently, electricity all causes that hiss.
Oh, okay,
well, if you record locally, you bring your levels up, that hiss is going to come right up with it. So you don't want that. And again, a lot of that, believe it or not, is caused by electrical current. You can get power conditioners, put them in the studio, and it's like it'll take out a bit. Now, again, but these are all things that are, not for, this is a lot more intricate, and it's going to cost you a little bit of cash to do. Yeah. Microphones, it depends entirely on what you enjoy doing, but what you really need to do is not so much worry about, keeping stuff out, because you can't, unless you do a build out and actually build a studio, you're not going to keep out a ton of noise. I mean, the majority, right. A very quick fix is, the things they roll around clothes with, like in New York, where you see the, fashion merchandise, and they're rolling they hang all the clothes on the thing and roll around. You can pick one of those up at IKEA for probably $30-40. Get two of those and put moving blankets on them and do a V right behind you. Just like that. And it'll deaden the crap out of everything behind you. It'll just, and it'll help immensely. You can even go so far as to make a cardboard box. Get a large cardboard box, put foam here on the top and cut it out so that you can slide into it. So it's got it like for your stomach, so you can kind of slide in a little bit, right up to it, and that will deaden everything right inside there. You want a nice, clean sound, and the reason is you could do the best read in the world, and if it sounds like crap, they're just going to pass. Right. So it's not, so you need to really be aware of that. If you are doing a lot of animation, a lot of video game stuff where you get loud. Now, I get, like, we put in limiters at the studio. We were recording Timon and Pumbaa, the TV show. So he's Timon! And it's that, like, and it's like, holy shit, there's steam, it's like, oh my God. I even have one of those here at home in the rack. That's an outboard compressor limiter. And what that does is that grabs everything before it ever goes into the computer. So I can be like this and go, you have no idea. And it'll go and be all nice and happy.
Nice.
And it keeps it right now. And that's a great, because I don't have to get, but the same thing, if I get really, I may back off my mic pre a little bit if I'm really hitting it hard, Right. But most of the time that limiter, it's, again, now I'm using an old Aphex 1.2, but I mean, again, whatever. The problem was with people, well, I've got those on my plugins. That doesn't do anything. Plugins are great for post after the fact. They do absolutely nothing while you're recording. They're not fast enough. They don't grab anything. They just like, okay. So you can go in and do, compress it and do all that neat stuff after the fact. But no, trying to do that while it's not going to happen. So just be cognizant of that. if you're going to do things, video games, animation, that kind of stuff, where you could possibly get loud. The other thing too is get familiar with your equipment. I don't care what you have. It doesn't matter. I'm a Pro Tools guy because I have Pro Tools at the studio. So for me, I can do that with my eyes shut and just blah, 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 and just fly. Oh my God, because I've done it forever.
Right.
Some people swear by Twisted Wave, by Adobe Audition, Audacity. That's fine. But again, it's like if you're really going to get, invest some money. Don't.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying anything wrong with Audacity. That's fine. But Audacity and a USB mic is not really. That's not going to compete with a Manley mic pre and a 416 with Pro Tools. The sound's going to be way different. And realize, if you're throwing your hat in the ring, you're competing with people that have a full, I'm sure you have a very good setup at home. It's not playtime. Ooh, this is, there's some serious, but gradually do that. Microphones, there is no one fits all. Most people, I would say, if you have to have an overall choice, get a Neumann, a TLM 103. And that's the best. They use it for animation. It's a wide diaphragm. It'll handle a lot as far as if you get loud, that kind of stuff. And it's kind of a pretty good overall mic. But I've had people that go, I use it for a shotgun on a lot of stuff, because you can work it closely, pull back, all of that kind of stuff. But that's basic. But know how to use, if you get Source Connect, call somebody, not Source Connect now, the free one. Nobody uses that,
Right.
And you can get Source Connect Standard or Source Connect Pro. Both of those work together. The IBTPL is another thing that works wonders. But know how to use. Don't wait. I can't tell you how many times, oh yeah, I've got Source Connect. And you go, yeah, I don't know why I'm not getting it. And it's like, guys, this is not the time for a tutorial. You want that? Let's do a coaching, whatever, we'll step, but not with a client sitting there going, what the, that's paying, 200 and whatever dollars an hour. It's like,
yeah, don't figure that out figure it out before you've booked a job and tested it out a few times so you can work on any.
There you go. And just know your stuff inside and out. Absolutely. Absolutely. But the whole key here is just be prepared for whatever comes your way. Again, the pirate session was a ball, and it was like, again, making drunker, and it was like, 10 points here, I'll give you 20 doubloons out of the rum. That kind, and it's like, no, make it. It's like, geez, okay, well, we'll call the Betty Ford Clinic afterwards. So but you have those. It's like, I'm very politically incorrect. And when I did Grand Theft Auto 5, it's a drive-by stuff. Well, can you do a black pimp? Now that sounds terrible, but it's like, please don't put my name on it, but fuck you, man. I'll smack your motherfucking head. It's like, it truly tasteless and bad. And I know it's, everybody's walking on eggshells. It's just a job. It's a voice. It's not like, oh my God, did you hear that? It's like, come on, right? It's not, it's so, but just be prepared for whatever comes your way. A great example of that is I booked DC's Legends of Tomorrow, the TV show. And the character, it's an homage to E.T. So it's this little tiny adorable character, and all it is where he starts getting, but when I walked in, everything I play is dead or mutated. It's all, it's like, again, the running gag is I never play the guy next door. I'm the guy that kills the guy next door. So when I walked in, I thought, okay, obviously it's a woman that's possessed or something, because I usually do, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And it was like, okay, this will be interesting. And in that case, similar thing. You've got 8 sheets of ADR sheets, right, for this creature. There's not a single word of dialogue. It's all efforts. And so it's your job to put that emotion into that, and that's kind of what. But it was another one of those kind of. So just think on your feet, be ready. It's like, well, okay.
Yeah, totally. It's great. That's so much fun. I think with the home studio, like you said, just being prepared and doing your research and getting your training, and if you're not technologically savvy. If you're not tech savvy, then get the training that you need.
Yeah, get like George or somebody to come. Yeah, and you know, I mean, there's people that are really good at that and do it. And again, it depends on what you're doing, you know. But the thing that people miss with this is like any other job, you know, you have to invest a little bit for a return. And I know that's where, because you know, so you know, don't get caught up. And again, don't sell yourself short. You know, put a value on it, but take your time to train. I have, you know, like people, okay, yeah, well, we did you did an hour's worth of coaching. It's not, I mean, and again, me saying that is very, it's like, so what's it going to take for me to get you in this car today? And it's not meant that way. I tell people when they want me to do demos, it's like, it's not a prerequisite. You don't have to do coaching, but you know, realize it's a one-off. It's a potential buyer, an agent. They're going to hear that demo once, and you're going to be living with the thing probably 5 years, if not more. You may take this piece out, put this in, but that core demo, that's going to be your demo for a while. So make sure it's all absolute top shelf. I mean, that everything on it is like, wow, this is amazing.
Exactly. Definitely. I think that there's so many, I've talked about this with almost every guest so far, I think, is that, excuse me, there's so many companies and so many people out there that are willing to scam you, you know, and say, oh, come train with us for, you know, 6 weeks or 3 days or whatever, and then we'll do your demo for you.
I had somebody that was at a company that was remain nameless in New York. And it was, well, you can't compete in this business unless you have, you know, at least 6 demos. And it's like, that's the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard in my life. Excuse me. But it's like, because there's specific things you do. That's not to say that you're going to be relegated, like your voice. You're suited more toward doing toys and animation. You're not going to narrate a series on Nat Geo.
No.
Now, you might do promos on the Disney Channel. You know, that, I mean, you have that feel, but that's, in other words, you know, like for me, my thing has always been characters, always. That's what I've always done, and that's fun. But I've, you know, had, you know, Alaska State Troopers, 138 episodes, I think, 136, which is a lot of episodes, you know. So it's not, you know, same thing with the promo stuff, same thing with the, it's like, oh yeah, okay, fine, whatever you guys need. I mean, it's not, and I don't feel that's my strong suit necessarily, but you don't do what you do and do it a notch better than the next, and do something to dazzle. Do something, you know, we're talking about that before we came on air here, and that's, you know, you got to do something that's just really, I remember writing a piece for a woman once, a commercial demo. Well, I don't know what to start. I said, let's do something emotional, because she has that more sophisticated voice. So the spot goes, when we were 4, we played with dolls together, and you hear little girls giggle. And at 12, we discovered boys, and the girls get, you know, the giggles get a little louder. At 18, we graduated from high school together, and you hear pomp and circumstance. The music wells up. And at 24, I held her hand as she died from breast cancer. She was my best friend. Now, see your expression, you just went, oh God. That boom. I mean, it's like, you're not, unless you are the most cold-hearted bastard in the world, you're not going to shut that off. It's like you kind of, wow, it's like shock factor. And that's the key to all of this, is that emotion. It does, if you're connecting with a 4-year-old, you know, a little example, we did a Hulk Hogan's Rock Wrestling years ago. It was a cartoon series. So they had all the wrestlers. Hey, brother, this is what you're going to have to do, man, okay? We're going to have to find the bad guys and get them. Well, they realized when they were doing test market, it's like, we're scaring the shit out of 4-year-old kids. Turn it off. So they had to recast the whole thing. But all of that, even if it's a video game, if it's a cartoon, if it's a commercial, you need to connect. It doesn't matter, you know, if it's a, you know, a Chevy truck spot, it's got to connect with people that want to buy a Chevy truck. If it's talking about an advertising, when commercial demos realize that all advertising is CTA, call to action, make me get off my butt and do something. And it's most commercials are all, here's the problem, and we're the solution. And even if you're talking about something like kids' cancer, it's like, it's awful. Did you realize that 1 out of 5 children, blah, 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 blah. But at Children's Hospital, we're finding ways. And so it's awful, but here's a solution. And that's
Right.
what made me go, oh, cool, okay. You know, and that's the, you know, unless you're doing this, you're 18 cents a day can save this dog. Yeah, you haven't seen my dog. She's a fat old girl. Anyway, we began to come close. Anyway, she's a 152-pound Weimaraner. She's a rescue.
Oh my gosh.
This week. But anyway, so that's, regardless of what you're doing, you need to connect. And that's the biggest, and get that emotion, have that kind. It's not like, you know, these guys, well, I've got this amazing radio voice and everybody, so, and it's like, that's great. Okay. Radio guys, I usually try and push them more toward doing promos, because that's where most of the promo guys came from, was radio.
Right.
You know, so it's not a big stretch, but you know, it's just, don't assume, you know, like, you know, it's like movie trailers. Well, there's a whole bunch, everything doesn't have to be voice of God, Ashton Smith with that in a world. You know,
Yeah.
it's much more, you know, you know, a lighthearted comedy. I mean, it's just do what you do. And like we had mentioned earlier, what's your voice suited for? You know, are you, you know, beer? Are you wine? Are you, you know, a Mercedes-Benz? Are you a Toyota Prius? Are you, and make that fit. One of the mistakes people make with a commercial, and here's an interesting fact also, demos. Commercials, yes, that is bread and butter. It's great to have it. But if you're really, really good at doing animated characters, then lead off with that. Do something that bowls me over. Because and when you see stuff, and I'll get in trouble for this, but you'll see, you know, the we don't accept, you know, unsolicited demos. Yes, we do. And the reason is they don't know. For all they know, you could be the next June Foray. You could be the next Frank Welker. Of course, they're going to listen to a demo. That doesn't mean they're going to listen to all of it. But the thing is, be prepared. Don't throw together some crappy thing at home with that going on and going, oh yeah, I put this together. What do you, I mean, it's like, dude, this isn't even in the realm. It's like, again, know what the players are. Go on my coaching site. I've got a zillion demos. Go on there and just listen. You don't have to do anything. Just listen to them and you'll see what these people are doing. That's your competition. All of those are normally, with the exception of the majority of them are fake. In other words, they were all put together from scratch. But I'm telling you, they sound really, really, really real. And that's the key. You want these things to sound like, wow, you know, I just called a bunch of my work and put this together, you know, and that will pique interest way more with an agent than like, well, I just finished studying like 6 weeks with this person and 6 weeks with this person. And then I did that. And so now I'm doing a demo prep course. And the agent's going, yeah, well, that's really great. Well, thanks. Because that doesn't, you have no track record. And an agent nowadays is not the days of the, you know, the arm around your shoulders going, you know what, kid, you're going to make it. I'd stick with me. That's not going to happen. You know, they want to know somebody that's working, because there's a lot of money involved, a lot of cash, a lot. Yeah. And so I need to know definitively, if I book you, I know I got no worries. You're going to knock it out of the park. And the client's happy. I look great for bringing you on. You're happy. And it's a miracle that everyone's in a run and we can move to Tibet and have fun.
For sure. Well, that's, yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say there. Yeah, I think it is. It's a very dynamic industry, you know. I mean, there's so many facets of it, and being yourself is really, really important. I had somebody ask me over the summer when I was in LA, they're like, yeah, you have a great voice and, you know, you're booking stuff and da-da-da-da-da. But here's the thing, like, if you think about the people in the industry that have a voice like mine, right?
And you're talking about Eugene Daly and Cal Susan. Yeah.
What the question to me was, what do you have to offer that these people don't?
And that right there, that right there is your vow. And there's only one of you. And again, bring that personality in. They can't see you. They can't, gosh, what a cute girl. Oh, what a sweet smile. There's none of that. You're an MP3.
Right.
You know, you can't. So all of that has to transfer. So when I hit play, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And that's the key to that. And that's why, to me, that's why coaching to me is so, because it's not just a minute. That's why you get people that go, well, yeah, I've been on, voices.com or voice 123. I've been on there for, 9 months, and like I've had 700 auditions and haven't booked anything. And it's like, and you listen to them and it's like, oh, no shit, listen to what you're doing,
Yeah.
and quality wise, all that. Same thing with, editing. Don't worry about, what I'm even, it's like on an audition, if you screw up, fine, leave it. You're human. I've got rings of outtakes from all the celeb stuff, and I've gone off on everybody. Everybody makes mistakes,
Yeah.
And so it makes you human. It's not going to like, oh my God. And, I love when people go in and they're just like, spend 2 hours cleaning this up and wow, that's amazing. It was 12 minutes and you didn't breathe once. Come on.
Exactly.
It's fine unless you're doing a, Darth Vader and then you go outside, it's like, no, but it's the key is, you're right, be you. But again, your skew on a character, it's like, E.G. I love E.G. I've done her demos, and she's just a sweetheart. I love her dearly. She did the voice of Babe too, right? With the pig. Well, you would be fine with it. Your skew would be different.
Right.
It wouldn't be the same thing, and that's just it. That's what gives you the opportunity, to go ahead. And even though your voice may be similar, it's really just doing what you do and bringing that out, bringing it alive. You don't have to be jack of all trades. You don't have to do everything, and you don't have to have 6 demos, But I would say 1, maybe 2, but make sure that are like, wow, holy moly! I mean, this just bowls you over. I mean, and you want to. It's almost like, listening to an old time radio show. It's like it's got a flow to it, and cute. That sounds. It's got a flow to it. Sounds like I live in Orange County and it's from the beach. But it does. It has. There's a movement to that. So you hit play, and it's like bam, 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 bam. Wow, holy. Yeah. It's no different than a song that's well produced. We started talking about like Happy with Pharrell, it's like, I hate it. As soon as it comes on, boy, your leg is going and you're humming, and that damn thing will be in your head the rest of the day. And that's exactly with your demo. That's absolutely what you want. Make it memorable.
Right. Definitely. Yeah, that's really good advice. I think it threw me off a little when I was asked that question, because it made me doubt myself so much. I was like, I don't know, like, See, and it was like, okay, but then when I thought about it, I was like, well, there is no other Val. I'm the only one. So my take on stuff isn't going to be the same as that, and it might be similar.
The thing is with auditions, there is no right and there is no wrong. You have to believe in whatever you choose 1,000%. And if you do, that comes through. Where a lot of people miss is they kind of second guess why they're, and then of course, as soon as you hit send, oh God, okay, I probably should have. It's like, just let it go. It's done, it's out there. And it's just, it's not in your hands. It's like, the universe, the planets align, whatever the hell happens, and you book the job.
Exactly.
And that's it, and it's just, and just don't get that caught up in that. I always tell people, especially coaching, look at yourself as you are a professional auditioner. That's what you do. What do you do? Oh, I audition. That's what I do every day. Every single day. And I don't care at what level you're at, you still will do that. I mean, it's not, voiceover people. We've had projects at the studio where they brought in every top VO person. I mean, major, and none of them booked it. They ended up going with some obscure character actor because that's the voice they wanted. Right. So it's just, again, you just do it and let it go. But again, be you. Don't get shook, and just make sure that what you are doing fits you. And that's one of the best portions of coaching, is that you have somebody telling you, you know what, no, that's not working, man. Let's do, I do a den on English. Hello, mate. No. Okay. Or they'll, I do a dead on Homer Simpson. Dope. And it's like, well, that's not dead on. Dan's not going anywhere. So we don't really want to put that on there. I mean, it doesn't, it's kind of a point, So again, just do something that is fun, that grabs attention, and like you were saying, ad-lib comedy, that kind of stuff. And that's what the other thing that can help with is that can help that process. It's like, okay, now this is starting to make sense. And all of a sudden you see the light bulb go zing, and it's like great. And to me at this point, there's nothing better when somebody goes, God, I booked an animated film. God, I got signed with an agent. God, it's like, awesome. That's great. That's the best possible feedback. Absolutely.
Right. So, wow, we already covered that question, so I'll skip that one.
I'm just sitting here gabbing. Sorry about that.
No, it's great. So this question, everyone says that you have to live in Los Angeles if you want to be a successful, competitive animation cartoon voice actor. I personally choose not to believe that's true, because if I do, I'll be too disappointed that I don't live there. But how do you feel about it? And do you think a really talented voice actor can have a great career in animation or cartoon voiceover somehow, even if they don't live in LA?
Well, here's the deal. Yeah, you do need to be in LA. However, that being said, because most animation is cast sessions, meaning that you've got, that all 8 people in the room at once playing off each other. And it's very much like, you got to call back at Cartoon Network tomorrow at 2:00.
Right.
That being said, also do video games. And the reason for that is video games are always recorded singularly. You're by yourself. They're never, I think the only game I ever did with a cast was Spider-Man, and it was the stupidest because everybody's like sitting there going, while this person's going computer on, it was not a brilliant idea. The animation portion, if you do something that is amazing, animation also, if you sing, throw some of that on there. Now that doesn't, if you have a trained voice, that's awesome. If you don't, and what we do is, I've built scenes and written lyrics and all kinds of stuff that are really cute, fun, depending on where they want to go with it. Trained voice, the unrequited love ballad, but he can't be because I love him. And it goes into this whole very beautiful thing, but I'll put in, horse clops on this cobblestone and so, you create a little mini scene. I created this really fun song for a guy he wanted to be the evil Disney guy, but a fun evil guy. So we have a whole song for that. So that kind of stuff, if Disney likes you, they're going to find out a way to get you there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Same thing, even animation. If you really bowl somebody over, but that's why it's so important to have a demo that's like, because an agent's going to listen to it once, and that's what they're going to be. Don't go, I can't tell you how many people have to, I just put this together really quick because I don't have the cash right now, so I'm just putting this out. And it's like, I get it. I understand the finance stuff. I fully, but don't do it yet, because otherwise that's the agent goes, oh yeah, and that's what you're remembered as.
Yeah, and then you're like blacklisted forever from.
Not necessarily black, but it's just like, it's not bowl them over. You want this to sound like you've done so much animation work, so many video games, it's ridiculous. I've done this and this and this and this, and it's incredible, and da-da-da. And it's like, that's going to pique their interest. Wow, this person's working, and do some stuff. But again, make it fit you. You have that beautiful, high, kind of fun voice. So that's going to be in your wheelhouse. But instead of going all that way, let's put a little grit in it and making a bully on the schoolyard, that's like a little turd that's like, a very unpleasant kid. There's all kinds of things you can do so that you've got a variety of stuff there. So it's not all, stuck at one specific thing. And again, an agent or a potential buyer once. So they're going to hit play and it's going to grab them. It's not going to grab them. So just make sure whatever you do is that, remember the old Panasonic spots? I don't know if you do, where the guy puts, and the guy's going like this and his hair is flying back and the glass is going back on the street. It's so loud, and that's kind of what you want to do with your demo. Like, wow, just absolutely wow factor.
I know, no pressure, right? It's like, I've been working all these years to make it like the best animation demo in like the history of the world. So when I actually do it, it's like no pressure, but this just has to be like the best animation demo ever in the world.
That's why, have somebody that work with somebody that knows animation, but that also knows the production value of animation, that's actually mixed some animation, that knows how that works, that knows what that, because when it's like, if I'm, like directing someone for a demo, my thought process is entirely, it's not like, okay, great. It's like, I'm throwing out things to the engine. No, that's great. Or making note. I like this, the top of that. You know what? Let's take that out. Stop it here. We'll slam the door. And then I'll just put it like, like we're seeing the mean kid on the school ground. So it's like, okay, hand over your milk money, pal. Got it. Oh, no money, and then you hear it, oh, right? Metal locker shut. And then, and now you just created a little fun bit, and that's it. Let's move on to something else. But it's most people, unless you do that, you don't think in those. It's like, oh yeah, you hand it off, and here it is. Oh, and here's funny music, and here's the, and it's like, you want these to sound real, like you pulled them right off a cartoon.
Right. Exactly.
And that's the key. Just be you, make it real, and put again. It's not quantity, it's quality. So if you do 5, 6, 7 things that are really great, good. I've run into people that's like, well, I've got 472 voices on my demo, and it sounds like you're doing every one of them. I mean, it's like, okay, that's not what it's about. Variety is wonderful, show that, but much better to do stuff that's absolutely top shelf, that's like, wow, than try and do a bunch of stuff. If you don't do a Russian accent, then don't put a Russian accent on there.
Right. Definitely. That's great. Great advice. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, certainly.
So what have some of your biggest obstacles been in your voiceover career so far? And then following that, what have some of your biggest successes been so far?
Well, the biggest obstacle probably initially was that everyone knew me more for having a big voiceover studio. And so it was like, I'd go on an audition, and like Jess Arnell would go, what are you doing here? It's like, who let you out? It was like, well, so, and that's probably the biggest portion of that is just that, it's like, when you're not a voice actor, you're a studio owner. And it's like, well, no, I started voice acting before I had the studio. And that was my game plan. Build the studio, get that up, that running to where it's, crazy busy, which it is. And Andy is taking over and it's kind of running, and that's been a great, phenomenal success. So career-wise, I think probably the two outs was it's funny. There's a video game I did called Hotel Mario, which was back in like 1993 or so, which was voted one of the top 10 worst video games ever in the history of the world. But it's taken on this ridiculous, huge thing that Ratchet and Clank had played a character called Mr. Zurkon. You key in on the internet sometime, Mr. Zurkon, Zurkon, or Hotel Mario, and you'll see cutscenes. I played Mario, Luigi, and Bowser on that. And not, in that case, obviously not in a good way, because the game stand was awful. But I had interviews with the people, and they said, well, how does it feel? Like how many ever, whatever it was, 35 years later, it is still, and it's like, it's great that it found a new life. It's cool, because you don't know that. Yeah. But probably the cherry, honestly, was the Pirates of the Caribbean thing, because you grew up with that, and that was like the first ride you'd always go on as a kid. My brother even came over because he wanted to go, man, don't go, I want to go on it with you because that's so cool, So, and even when we were doing the session, Gray Delisle and Keith both, Gray was even, God, I was crying on the way over here because this is such a, because we knew it was a really iconic, very special. And,
definitely.
The Disney people are going, well, this was the last ride that Walt was hands-on with, so it's a very special.
Wow.
And you guys will be the voices for this scene for probably the next 50 years. And, and it was like, oh, no. And it was a really special, neat session. One of the where you just came out and you went that way. And I even, I at this point don't get really overwhelmingly excited. I mean, I'm buzzed anyway, but booking stuff, it's like, oh, cool. Okay. Oh yeah, great. I'll be there. Cool. This one, when Agent called and said you booked Pirates, it was like, yes, because I really wanted that,
That's amazing.
And age-wise, et cetera, it was like, that's a nice little just cherry to go, okay, cool. You know, that was
That's
that was good.
great. Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you. It was fun.
Yeah. So what are 3 goals that you would like to accomplish for yourself, either in your personal voiceover career or your career overall in 2019?
Well, honestly, at this point for me, it's very much, it's more in the vein of giving back. And I know that sounds hokey, but there really isn't a lot. I mean, I mean, even the studio. I mean, I started off. I mean, it was one of those things where somebody would go, you know, here, we need to fax this over to you. It was like, fax line's down. I don't have a fax machine. I can't, you know, I couldn't afford it. And so, you know, that part of it really took off, and I've been extraordinarily blessed, and you know, so at this point, no, it's you know, traveling around a little bit, looking at you know, and being able, I can actually pick up a vacation place, which looks pretty neat, that's on the water, which is kind of like, wow, that would be cool. But really enjoying grandbabies. My little granddaughter, Belle, was just up on Saturday. And that's you know, that's really what it's about. And I coach special needs kids. You know, and that's like just a really, and you know, that's the thing too, is, you know, give back, but do something to realize that this business, it's wonderful, and it's, you know, I mean, it's all I've ever done. And so, you know, you can pretty much ask me anything about this business, and that I know. I may not be a smart guy, but this part, you know, I do know. But
Yeah.
At this point, for me, it's more in the vein of other stuff, like, you know, I'm, you know, kind of like pulling back a little bit and still doing, you know, a conference here and there. The coaching I love, because I love the fact of taking somebody and watching their success. That's awesome. That's like that's just cool. You know, I'm good. I don't need that. I'm fine, you know.
Right.
So, you know, that and really, you know, it's just kind of a different chapter. I mean, again, I'll be 66 next December. And so at this point, I'm, you know, feel great, look great, work out all the time, you know, do all that kind of stuff. And so I you know, traveling around a little bit, you know, Europe was one. We went to Venice with my girlfriend and I last, you know, it was, we just had a ball. It was, and that's a great, we talk about characters, like where do you create characters? We were standing in line, and this sounds so pretentious. Oh, we were standing in line waiting to go on the plane to Venice. I mean, it's just anyway, it never been, it was really, but the guy at the passport office was this dodgy old Englishman that had a very, Venice, that's going to be wonderful. You know, you should be about 1:30. You're going to be right in this area. And he pulls out a the sun shines down on it. It's absolutely gorgeous. And you can just hear the people in the back, fucking get on with it! You know, I mean, he's the sweetest guy, but he just kind of kept going. He was like, well, there's a character.
Right.
But just that kind of stuff. I just feel, you know, life is good, you know, but do something outside of this to feed yourself as just a human, you know, and whatever that may be, you know, because there's just like, how long have you been in there? 6 weeks. Do you like how I sounded? My name? It's like, what? You know, it's like, no, just, you know, and it's just, you know, and it's very easy to do that, to get all, you know, I mean, sometimes you're in this damn booth at, you know, 11 o'clock at night because there's stuff due in New York by 6 a.m. and it's like, it's not quite as glamorous as you would think. But at the same point, I love it. Wouldn't have changed a thing. You know, it's just great. It's paid for 2 divorces, 3 kids through college, you know, and a fat dog. So, and 3 houses. So yeah, life is good.
Pretty good. Yeah. Pretty good.
Nothing to complain about. Not at all. It's been very good.
It's good to hear that you're enjoying life. I think that's a great goal, is to enjoy your life and be happy with it, because I think that a lot of people get distracted with all the other stuff going on in the world and let that influence them in a negative way. And I think staying positive is so important, and that's really
and positive. And sometimes it's good to get away from the voiceover, because what I do, I mean, most people that know, it's like constant. That's what all the conversation is. And sometimes, you know, it's nice just to get away from that. And I don't mind. I mean, it's fine. I'm flattered, or if people want pictures and all that kind. It's great. I mean, I love that. Don't get me wrong. I think that's the sweetest thing ever. But it's also nice to go out and talk to somebody just about, you know, wow, whatever, you know, Captain Marvel or something. I don't know. You know, it's like, just, you know, that's all. You know, just something a little different. But but the real thing there is just, be true to yourself. And if this is what you want to do, go for it, absolutely positively, but don't get caught up in the BS. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So, how do you feel? We talked for a minute about social media, but how do you feel about it? Do you use it? If so, how and which platforms? And do you think it's important for voice actors to use it now to enhance their careers?
It's interesting. That kind of goes to, well, I post a lot of stuff with like the celeb pics and all that kind of stuff. The only reason for that is because it kind of legitimizes. It's like, it's not Photoshop. It's not like, copy paste a logo. I mean,
right.
They're actually there, and it's kind of fun, and people look and go, oh, that's great. Gee, I saw so-and-so or worked with them on this movie or TV show or whatever. So that's kind of fun. I think that it's interesting in that I don't know that it has, it's a double-edged sword. It's a good question. I don't think it really has a lot of impact on a voiceover, having a web presence, yes, a website and stuff, but I don't think that's a make or break, kind of a thing. However, more and more, there are buyers that they want to know what your social media following is, how many people you have, and which I think is kind of a crappy way to, base how they're going to, whether or not they're going to book you is, well, how many people do you have on Instagram,
Right.
So there is some of that sometimes, not all the time. And I mean, sometimes, yes, that is, you can lose a job because it's not, but to me, it's like, well, I get that. But being the nonconformist that I am, it's like, well, listen, you cheap bastard, then why don't you, pay lots more if you're expecting to piggyback your stuff on my contacts.
Right.
Then I think that's only fair that you do that, But again, it's really, I think content is good and relevant, to make it sure. The thing is, too, that be cautious of what you do put up because that can bite you in the butt, Yeah. Also with there's no reason to just sign the papers for this huge project.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Why don't you wait till the huge project comes out and then go, hey, here you go. And I made the mistake. I did that once with a big video game and posted a picture completely innocently. I thought, oh, Dan, boy, I'm the agent. Everybody's like, take it down now. I didn't even realize I crossed a line, But I mean, that's the kind of stuff you need to be cautious of.
Yeah. So do you have any upcoming workshops that you're offering or any upcoming appearances at any conferences or anything like that?
Honestly, I don't. I've cut back a bit on that just because things got, I was so tired of carrying the damn rig around, even though it's just like, oh my God, and, fighting with the internet to get blah, 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 and all that stuff. And sometimes it's nice to be a little off the grid, just to kind of get away and just go, you know what, we're actually taking a week and that's it. And sometimes it's like, well, wait a minute, you can't. It's like, no, I just, I'll do it the Monday I get back, whatever you need. But sometimes you just need to, get away from it a bit. But no, the con stuff, at this point, I've just pulled back a little bit, on stuff and it's, the session stuff, again, the studio environment, I just found for me, it's great. The ADR class, I will still do that, and that's probably coming up, where are we at? March, so it's probably in May at the studio. But most of the time now, virtually everything I do is either Skype, Zoom, FaceTime, and it's one-on-one. Because this way, it's like right now, if I go, you know what, that's not working out, hang on, boom, here's another piece of copy. And you've got it right there. And it's like, great, let's do the same here, but let's do this. Okay, there you go. And now, and you've got a little tighter control. You don't need to have a studio set up. You can just have your computer, but it gives you a nice basis and just, how this all fits together, how it all works. What are you supposed to do? Because there's people that don't, it's a very daunting process. You're sitting behind a microphone, okay, auditioning. I've had people that don't even, it's like, okay, slate yourself. Is that a weird perverted? It's like, no, just say your name. Really aren't just not sure of what's going on. And again, it's like anything else. I mean, if you're looking to get into a really good situation with a job, well, you don't just go, yeah, I'm going to walk down there and apply. I mean, it's like, okay, find out what's going on with it, understand how the process works, who are the good agents, who are the bad. That's even that, there's agents that are very connected as far as animation, and there's agents that aren't.
Right.
There's agents that specialize more in kids than they do in adults. There's, the commercial, it really depends on what, what you want to do. And that's kind of that's the path you take. And once you realize too, that if you sign with an agent, you're not relegated to just that. It's like if you, send an animation, it's not like you're going to be stuck with just doing that. They're going to send you stuff across the board as long as they know you're capable of handling it. It's a mutual thing. It's like a marriage, they're basically signing you because they believe in you and they're going to represent you and get you jobs to make money. And your end of the bargain is you need to show up on time or auditions and give them a product that technically is ridiculously good and actually, and talent wise is, it's exactly what they'd expect. So you're right there and you can compete with everybody.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I think it's important I think this is something, since I started the Mid-Atlantic Voiceover Conference in 2014, and I think
and you never invited me to that either. No,
well, not yet.
No. I'm kidding.
But what I was going to say is that I think it's actually good to hear that you have sort of backed off of some, like recently you said you've backed off of going to like conferences and things
because
like that.
I think it becomes a point where it's like, if you look, it's like at it's this for and it's like the same people doing the same thing, and it's like, okay.
That's what I was going to say, is that I think that sometimes voice actors get to a certain point of like, okay, I'm going to this one, I'm going to that one, and they do the circuit of every conference, and then people that are organizers of them are like, you're overexposed.
And I understand that. And that's very true.
And so it's good because then it makes you more valuable down the line to say you haven't been doing the whole circuit of every conference.
Sure.
So now it's more exciting to have you as a guest because you haven't done every conference that exists. You know what I mean? Because
and I think
there's so many now.
I agree.
It's
and it's pretty much, it's kind of the same players. I mean, if you look, not entirely, but it's kind of, and it's like, okay. And I mean, it's like, well, if you've seen so-and-so and done, it's like, okay, and the interesting thing is with a lot of individuals like that too, that go, it's like, it can be the camaraderie, I think, is wonderful, but there's a lot of people there. It's like, well, it's not like they're actually in a position to hire you for jobs.
Right.
I mean, they maybe so, that might be true. In some cases, I think it may be, but then there's a lot of people that it's like, they're just kind of saying what they feel. It's like their point of view, which is not a bad thing. I mean, the more points of view, the better. It's like 2 heads, 3 heads, 4 heads are better than one. So.
Yeah. So Marc, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with me today. It was really such an honor to have you on the show and to learn from you and just to talk with you and learn about your background and so much great advice about home studio and just really having your acting skills in order.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
This was great.
This was more like just a casual conversation. It was kind of fun.
Great. Great. Thanks so much. And tell everyone how they can find you on social media.
Sure. Well, Instagram, Marc Graue, Twitter, Marc Graue, and it's MarcGraue. I actually had somebody go, is that like a stage name? It's like, yes. I thought I'd find some name that no one could pronounce. It sounds like you're having a seizure. My parents didn't believe in vowels or consonants. Anyway, best bet is website is www.marc, M-A-R-C, it's all lowercase, MARC-Graue, Graue.com. That's the coaching site. You can get a hold of me there. The email from that goes directly to me. It bypasses the studio, so it doesn't get lost in the clutter there. Again, it's just marc-graue.com. I'm pretty good about getting back email wise. And honestly, even if, you go, I don't want to be the coach and whatever, you just have questions, great. Fire off. And if I don't know the answer, I'll lie and act like I do.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Marc. And I will put the link to your website and your social media handles in the description for this video.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Val. It was really, really a pleasure. Thank you for having me.